So let me ask you this kind of loaded question, but since you're kind of literally there, what do you think about Ukraine?
Well, in my personal best interest is for Ukraine to hold off as much as they can.
Hmm.
I would really love for them to win the fucking war. If not, at least get that fucking Russian pricks as much hold of as they can, because if Russia could take Ukraine, we will be next. For me, it's simple as that. I think Putin burned on Ukraine really, really badly, and I know it's because of US help, but still, it's really fucking shaky.
Okay.
So it's interesting because when you say like you think you'll be next, you think you'll be like next, like right next, or do you think that he'll try to invade, like the Baltic countries or maybe Moldova? Um,
Well, maybe he could. I think I don't know, the NATO or something is worth shit, because if it wouldn't, then the second the missile landed on our land, it wouldn't be polite sending emails like "what the fuck." It would be straight answer.
mhm.
I believe that the US wouldn't give a fuck if it was a mistake, something landed on your land, and it will never happen again.
Mm,
I believe your country is straight up with those things. We are not. But
gotcha.
we are not because we are small little country surrounded by powerful neighbors, and we are actually fucked. We have to reach to diplomacy. In your case, diplomacy is Navy SEALs, nuclear weapons, and the 100 fucking billion US dollars spent on training.
Gotcha. But on the other hand, well, like I believe like Poland, like compared to like many other nations, like you guys pretty much like have like really increased your own defense spending to the point where it's like what, like 5% of your GDP?
No, it really. If you think that, that's fucking great.
Hmm.
But in my opinion, it's bollocks, because we have a lot of NCOs and a lot of officers. We don't have troops. I believe when push comes to shove, we're gonna be fucked big time.
Is there an opinion in Poland, like when it comes to like push comes to shove that because let me put it this way. Like you said that like we're seriously fucked as Poland, if Russia manages to take let's say all of like Ukraine, because now, literally there would be like Russian troops right at your border, right? I mean, not to mention you would be both right next to like Russian troops and Belarus, right? Which is also like another attack point. So you're basically almost not quite surrounded, but that's half your border. Um, is there a public perception in Poland that before it gets to that level, maybe we need to do something first in advance? Like, what is the average person in Poland's opinion on, for example, maybe sending troops from Poland to help Ukrainians fight Russians?
That's a complex question, I think, because we are, as usual, very polarized. So, if you are familiar with the great series The Wire, watched it, maybe? No.
No, I don't
Ah,
think so, but explain it.
check it on HBO, because there's a great quote. That's three Polacks, four opinions. So Poland is now polarized because we don't want to help Ukraine because it takes out our funds. there's like, I don't know, 30-40% people that think we shouldn't take Ukrainian, I don't know how to say it because my English is,
refugees.
refugees, exactly. English is fucked. Yeah, we shouldn't take them, we shouldn't help them, etc. It's not our war, etc. I think it's our war, and I think the government hopefully realized that's why they sent help, right? Because it's really in our best interests that it doesn't come to that Ukraine will be taken, but in the opinion of people, I think we are very polarized, and the same people that could, I don't know, maybe take arms and defend our country, those same people say we shouldn't help Ukrainians. So it's really, really fucking bad.
Yeah.
Only because their opinion is like it's just not our fight, it's not our problem.
Yep. So it's really not good.
Gotcha.
We recently, like 5 or 6 years ago, formed another military unit, which is called FOT, Wojska Obrony Terytorialnej, which means, loosely translated, it's a military that protects territories.
Like a National Guard.
Something like that, but in US, National Guard is something that keeps peace. No, it's not military police. Okay, National Guard. Okay, whatever. I can explain it, but it's a new form that you can be a weekend warrior, right? So you have a normal job, you are a normal civilian, but you join the formation and you have regular trainings on the weekends or something, right? So you are a part-time soldier.
Yeah, that's basically like a reserve, or like it's basically a National Guard, because even like National Guard, like here in the United States, they function exactly the same way.
Okay.
Reserve schedule, and they can be deployed stateside to defend like states, right?
Okay, so it's pretty similar. I
Right.
am a blue-collar guy. I work in a brick factory, but I recently became a firearms instructor. And I've never seen a National Guard who can shoot guns. And it's really problematic because we are spending really high amount of money on this formation to guys to feel good in the fucking uniform they put on the weekend, and when they go back on Monday, they are lawyers. I don't know, fucking. You know what I mean. Sorry.
No, I know exactly what you mean. How long have you been a firearms instructor?
Well, I've got my permit almost 2 years ago, my firearms permit, and with that permit, I've also got my instructor's permit, and it's not common. And I know you probably gonna think that I don't know very much, but it turned out I can shoot and I can explain it to the general public in a simple way, and I win competitions and etc. So it was a very fast track for me. So I know some.
Gotcha. And then you're saying from like the amount of like basically, like guard members that you've interacted with, you're just not confident in them.
No, they are dog shit.
Wow.
I have to really care much about them to not shoot themselves or another person. It's that bad. They really fucking suck. And my standards are pretty high. So if I tell about somebody that they cannot shoot, it's maybe a little exaggeration, but still, I've never encountered National Guard in Poland that it's capable of handling a firearm.
Wow, that bad. Let me ask you, I guess something else. So being being in Poland and you're reasonably not that far from Russia, um, do you know any Russians personally?
No.
Okay. Um, what do you think about Russians? What does the average person in Poland think about them?
Well, it's not that easy to explain because we actually don't know personally Russians, right?
Right.
There are some people who came here, have a Russian name or something, but they are quite Polish, let's say. But generally, we hate them. When the push comes to shove, we hate Russians. We don't
Mhm.
fucking like
Gotcha. And explain to me the little history behind that, if you can.
them. Dude, the Second World War.
That is true. They did, you
It's
guys got
terrible.
invaded by both Germany
Yeah,
and the
and it
Soviet
was
Union.
passed by generations. I don't have anything against Russia personally.
Hmm.
I just live in Poland and I don't like them. I know they make not so good vodka they think they making. It's, that's a certainty I can tell you. But the rest of it, it's I'm just from Poland. That's it.
Gotcha. Um, do uh, do you watch like a lot of content about Russians? Like, I guess like even on chat roulette, like have you connected with any of them out of
No,
curiosity?
actually, it's my first time here.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
so
Um, so when you think about like ordinary Russians,
I
do
think
you,
they are misled.
okay.
I think I like the most encounter I had with Russians was like 10 years ago watching a YouTube channel called Stop Ham
Okay.
because they were bizarre in their driving to the point they were driving through sidewalks and shit to avoid traffic. And the story was this channel on YouTube was certified by I don't know Putin or somebody that they
Hmm.
could block them, and they had an authority to just stop the vehicles. So I watched that, and that was my that was Russian, right? That
Yeah.
was something I've watched. But in terms of war, I think they are greatly misled uh, on many things. So it's not their fault. I'm not thinking about Russian people as enemies, but generally speaking, they've done so much damage
Hmm.
to us, and they are invading Ukraine. In my opinion, it's invasion. So I have to like I'm not saying act accordingly, but feel accordingly. Germany isn't invading anyone, and Poland like maybe hates Germans on something. I don't hate Germans.
Hmm.
I have no reason to do it. And even if you are, I don't know, Hitler's fucking granddaughter or grandson or whatever, you are not responsible for your predecessor's actions, right?
Yeah.
But Russia is now invading Ukraine. So I'm not fan of Russia.
I got like some interesting stories about that. Because um, on like sites like these, like Chat Roulette or Omi TV or whatnot, I frequently do like actually, like connect like with Russians, and then like I've talked at this point maybe about like I'm not going to say more than 100, but like a lot of people, like a lot of Russians, right? And um there's a lot of like wildly varying opinions, like all the way from, like people who like left the country and are absolutely against it, against their government, against the war, and all the way to people who like laugh about it. Like,
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, haha, funny dead Ukrainians, like that kind of stuff. It doesn't matter to
Okay,
me. I think it's a joke.
I get it.
I love Putin, right? Um, and like because of that, like I guess as a background, like the reason why I started, like just talking to them out of like curiosity, there's like a YouTube channel, since we were on that topic. I don't know if you're interested in checking him out, but like if you YouTube him right now, it's just Bald Max.
Wait a sec. Give me a sec. It's Bald
Max.
Max. Bald Max. Max Pass. Bald Max. Yeah, I got it.
Bald Max.
What will happen to Russia after Putin? Yeah, okay. Got him.
Yeah. No, I really recommend a look. Um, I
Hmm.
mean, it's a really interesting watch. But I think like the great thing that like he does specifically is, like he kind of comes, with like a warm angle, like is like friendly, conversational, right? And then the questions begin, and then everything comes out, right? Um, and I guess like that's what I kind of hoped to do on like sites like these, like just out of curiosity, like just like what they think. Um, but yeah, man, like I said, like there's just basically, like plenty of like stories with that.
Yeah, sure. First of all, I'm terribly sorry for my bad English. Like hearing you and hearing myself, it's like
Dude, your
whole,
English is
whole
fine.
whole different level. I'm forgetting words, but that's why I'm here actually to shake my rust off, right?
Yeah.
Uh, but it's really it's really fucking hard topic about this war. But I understand completely Russian people who are laughing about this. I understand because if I were U.S. citizen and I found out that I don't know trip to Iraq was about oil, couldn't give a fuck.
Hmm.
It's not my problem. I wasn't there. I didn't do it. I didn't order it. I don't give a fuck. Like in my interest is that my country, people I elected, are caring for my business, right?
Hmm.
They have to do whatever is best for me. So I believe some Russian people that are, I don't know, forced into army, if they are, their families are upset with Putin. I get it. But if that is not the case for some people in Russia, they are just sitting, smiling, whatever. It's not their case. So I completely understand them. If you are a big country, you can dictate terms. You can do whatever you want, right? It's like the, I don't know, 300 pounds guy in a club. Like, what you gonna do? I'm sorry, that's the word. Is it fair? No, completely not. Is it okay? No, of course not. But in the end of the day, what you gonna do?
I like that analogy.
Yeah, I'm terribly sorry for that, but but I really do understand that point of view. And me being in Central Europe, surrounded by German, Russian, fucking Belarus, fucking great. I have a bailout bag. I have few thousand rounds in my safe. We'll see. I was talking to my friends who I dragged into making firearms permits to shoot with me because it's my hobby, right, and my job. And we were talking, of course, with some liquor. And what we gonna do if shit hits the fan? Run. We know where. We are fortunate to have a place in apartment in Greece or something. And I was speaking to my friend, and I said, you know what? I'm not sure, but I think when we got to the border and I got my wife and family throughout the border, I'm not sure. I think I would come back. I'm not
Gotcha.
really sure. I'm not military trained because I'm 30, so I didn't have to do it. I have the like checking up done by the medical doctor. We get categories. So I'm an A. So if push comes to shove, they can call me to join the army, of course. But still, no matter what, I think I could run, but I don't know. I'm not certain I would. I think I could come back here, knowing my family is safe.
Also, I guess slightly going back to a little previous topic, but um, when you said before that, like about like Russian soldiers, are they like drafted or like mobilized? Um, well, I guess like what do you think, and like what's like the average Polish person's perception, like on them being like, do you think they're there voluntarily or are they drafted or forced into it?
I think we should consider it on multiple levels because Russia, I think, is very polarized because from we are told from what we think, there's no middle class in Russia. Either you are really fucking poor or you are wealthy rich. So if you are really fucking poor, nobody's gonna hear you. So it could happen on some level, and you wouldn't know, right?
You want to know the truth?
Sure,
The,
always.
the vast majority of soldiers, of Russian soldiers that choose to go to Ukraine, they're doing it for the money.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Okay.
the unfortunate reality is, like to a lot of those Russians, because you got like that part right. Like there's like the ultra rich, like the oligarchs,
Mm-hmm.
people who are well off. But like unfortunately, there's also like many people who aren't that well off. Poor people, not like dirt poor, but like you work and you don't really have any savings, kind of poor. So then for a lot of those people, when they hear um, like, hey, you get like a 20,000 US dollars, right? For
Mm-hmm.
like a sign-on bonus. Even, I guess even more than that, maybe. For those people, like this is life-changing money, like life-changing money,
Of course.
right? So, and that's the unfortunate truth because like the reality is, if if Putin mobilizes the general population, it's a loss, right? So there's just other
Mm-hmm.
incentives,
Mm-hmm.
to basically fight in this. And I think it's a real shame because maybe people in Poland thought this. I know a lot of people in a lot of places thought this. I thought this. I think a lot of people in Ukraine also thought this, that, like that because, like Russia, like invaded um, Ukraine, like, full scale invasion, that there would have just been a bunch of like mass uprisings and mass protests, like in Russia, right? And like the government could have been like really affected by it because maybe they just, misjudged what their people were willing to tolerate. Um, but like unfortunately, like it just wasn't like the case. And then here we are 3 years later, and the people going there, more often than not, um, it's for the money.
Okay, and it's hard to blame them because let's say, for example, 20,000 bucks.
Hmm.
It's a lot of money for us in
40,000
Poland
bucks.
right now.
Even
Like,
40,000, up to 40,000 even.
dude, I would come up for that. And I work two jobs and I make a decent living, I think. And I would consider it. So
Fighting for Russia.
yeah, maybe not for them. But still, if I was a Russian, yeah, sure, sign me up. Because Ukraine is an underdog in this scenario, right? Especially if you're Russian. So, yep, that makes sense. Total sense.
I didn't plan to make this video. Like, it was just an occasional conversation in our Discord server with Boris. He's just a viewer of my channel. And we just try to speak not to Russians. And he wanna try to do. But in the end, I like this conversation so much that I decided to upload it to the channel and to get your opinion.